Wait, we're going now. Okay, so we're gonna do this salad, and we're gonna go and get this going. I have two things. Usually, you got your two burners going. Your first one is your poaching liquid that you have. Okay, and while that happens, notice I have a pizza pan. I also have water, and I have everything ready to go. I'm gonna go and prepare all my mise en place, so that all I need to do is just put it together. Especially with I think with this dish, you need to go and make sure everything is ready to go. So I have a little bit of Dijon, grainy Dijon mustard, as you can see, not much. Right? I'm going to go and put into my bowl my arugula. What you need to do is that in your waste bowl, you want to go and sort things out so that it looks nice. Okay? Due to the fact that it's not very nice, I might get Chris, just go to the back and you see a small container and you'll see something called kale. Just pick it out. Okay. So I'm just going to pick through it because not all of them, when you get it, will look nice. Yeah. So I usually have this with arugula or kale or whatever it is. Spinach. Okay. So whatever you have. Yeah. I'm going to have some baby kale because it's French. It's just really fresh. So you want nice fresh greens. Okay. I'm going to put that on. So I'm picking through. And I remember in the restaurants, if the guy's not really competent, this is what they ended up doing as their job. You have to go and pick through buckets. And I mean, like, do you see this? It was this big, caseloads of actually, yeah, they're just all there. So it's not very fun. Okay. So yeah, I basically picked through them. Looks pretty good. I'm going to put it in. Okay, you don't need a lot of salad. You're just making it and it doesn't keep moving. So I'm going to go and take my grainy Dijon. I have some honey that you can have in here. I'm going to have a regular Dijon. Notice the amount that I have in here. Okay, don't go by what it says in the recipe. Go by what I have here. All right, I always mix things up. So never go by the recipe. It's just a guide. Okay, so figure out how much I have in here. Not much. All right. A smear. Okay, so then at this point, I'm going to start doing my cuts. Okay, my cuts, I'm going to show you. So I'm doing all my prep work.
Wait, what is that stuff?
And I also have some sherry vinegar. So I have this ready to go because this is my mise en place tray. I'm going to go and start by getting my tomatoes concassé. Concassé just means that it is a tomato, right? You take an X on the bottom. It's been blanched, meaning just in and out so that you can de-skin it. Okay, so this whole process makes us concassé, so know what that is. It's de-skinned, de-seeded, and diced tomato, all right? So I have that ready to go. I'm going to go and make sure that I have some green onions just because it's salad usually for French is made with herbs. Okay, I have chives too, but this is how thin I want yours. Unless, remember I taught you how different sizes makes different tastes for your food? This is exactly what I mean. Unless you like a really harsh taste of green onion, yeah, you would need to go and make sure that you cut it really thin. So this is a good exercise to practice your knife cuts, and I want them all to be the same. So it should be like thinner than a skewer. Yeah. And you just let the knife bits work because if not, your herbs actually bruise and it's not very nice looking. Okay. So when I see it's not looking like this really nice, it's like nice cuts. So make sure that your knife is sharp, or else you bruise your onion, and then it becomes more harsh in its taste. And then while that happens, I'll also take some parsley. Yeah. And you're going to go and haché this one. So I'll be seeing all your knife cuts based on this too. So I have really thin cuts, almost like chiffonade for your green onions. Okay. Make sure they're really small. I want them to be nice and small. Then you're going to go and haché your parsley. So I shouldn't be seeing large chunks. It's nice and small. Then each time I only have one thing on here. I don't do the second thing. Okay, boys, can you guys stand up so you can see? I know. You won't be able to see the details. Like you can't see how small I'm actually cutting and everything else. So just make sure you stand up. You're gonna go and do a shallot brunoise. Okay, so brunoise, when small things, you need small knife. So I should be seeing a big knife for this small stuff. So you're gonna go and cut it. Okay. And you're gonna go and cut. Yeah, this is a shallot, which means it's a cross between an onion and a garlic. So it's kind of like they got married and it had a baby. So yeah, you're gonna go and take it, and you only need half a shallot. You don't need more than that. You're gonna go and peel it off, just the same. But this one is also anything that's like a knife cut. It should be nice and small, so you only cut once. Okay. Notice that I always have everything ready to go, and I always wipe my cutting board down. So I shouldn't have like 5 things. Nor should I ever see you and your partner sharing a cutting board. Everyone gets their own. You got it? Okay. So I'm gonna put my hand on here, and I'm gonna go and put it horizontal, and I'm gonna cut this as small as I can. Remember, this is a brunoise, meaning I want this to be, and I only get one cut only. So make sure it's good because I don't hash it after this. So I make it as many times I can go this way first. You got it? Then the second thing is as many times I can go over, okay, and I make really thin cuts, okay? And it should still be a cube, so it's exactly like a diced onion. So I'm doing exactly the same thing, but it's a lot smaller. So once I have that, you're gonna go and put it together, and you're gonna go and cut through, okay? It should be super small, and it's important to have this as a brunoise because it doesn't have that really fresh taste to it. No, what are you looking at?
Pardon?
You're now on YouTube with your name.
Oh
no, looking at the back?
I wasn't looking at it.
You're just looking at the back.
Yeah.
So you're gonna cut this off. Okay. And then once you do that, it's this small. Okay? You guys see how small it is? You can't see with this. You gotta see over here how small this is. Alright? Okay. So once you have that, make sure that you use as much as you can so you have minimal waste. I'm gonna put this right on. And continue on. Okay. So you and your partner share this because you'll have 45 minutes to cook this. Then you're gonna go and take an apple, and then you're gonna make thin slices. So if I were you, I would just start off with it standing up. Thin slices, so you're gonna make it into the end. So I cut it, oops, too thin. Okay, it should still look like a square when I look on it at the side. So, okay, great. Once I have that together, I'm gonna go and take this off, stack it. Now I can use the bigger one. Stack it together, and I'm gonna follow through. So I should see all of them looking like this. Okay? This thin, like this, and it's still a square if I look at it at a side. Okay? So once you have that, my water is basically done. I have the X, I'm going to drop it in. Now, I have to make sure while this happens that I have my ice water ready to go. Okay, because I have my ice water is going to help my tomato. That's all I'm doing. All I want to do is see the skin split. Once that's done, I cool it in the water because I want to make sure it's fully submerged. So make sure it's fully submerged. Okay. And it's sitting in there until it's cold. I don't want it to be hot. All I want to do is make sure that the skin comes off. Okay? I had so many people who asked me, why don't you just slap chop it? Because it actually turns into improper dicing, which is not what you want. Okay. Oh, I forgot. This on here. Okay, so I'm going to turn this on low. And I have my julienne ready to go. Okay. I'm going to do my tomato concasse now. So, with a small knife, you're going to peel the skin. Okay. So it becomes nice and. If I see that chunks of the meat are coming off, I overcooked it. So you don't want that. You want it to be nice and smooth. All right. Then I'm going to use, it's a small thing, so I'm going to use a small knife. I'm going to quarter it. So it's de-skinned now. I'm going to make it de-seeded. Usually I keep this part, but because I'm not using it for anything, we're not. Oh, actually, you know what? I am. I'm using it on Thursday. So we are going to keep the seeds. Okay? So we'll keep it. And these are called tomato petals, okay? Because they look like petals. And we usually did this for restaurants. And we used to do not just one tomato, but we did cases of tomatoes like this. Okay? So we had like all blanched properly, ready to go. Take out all the seeds. Make sure you wipe. Notice how many times I wipe my counter. My cutting board. Okay, so it doesn't or contaminate and just make other things apart. Then I'm just going to go and put it to the side, like so. Okay, and it's going to go and make strips. And I line it up. Okay, I want this to be a dice. So remember, a dice is a square. Okay, on all sides. Okay, once you have that, now I can move on to the big guy. I noticed that I actually lined this all up. Okay, and if you look at it, all of them are still a dice, so it's square. Okay? So I'm looking at the cuts for all this. You only can get better as you go along, so make sure that you just keep practicing at home. The more you practice, the easier it gets. So notice I'm always looking at the clock because I'm actually looking how much time do I have to make this for you. So 15 minutes, possible. So the last thing I'm going to do is my bacon. Okay. Bacon. Why is it that I would do the bacon last? And usually because this is a meat, I don't do it on the cutting board. This is cured meat, it's fine. But you're gonna. Why is it that I did this last? Do you think? Yes, I don't want to cross-contaminate. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm not wanting to cross-contaminate at all. I want to make sure that this is away from the food. I'm not cutting it with it. It's separate completely. Okay? I'm going to make something called lardons, which are strips that are basically rectangle strips that are this big. Okay? Alright, so like, I would say 2 centimeters or so. Okay? And I want it to be, just follow through. Everyone has trouble with bacon, but it's not that hard. If you point your knife, and the knife is sharp, and you just follow through all the way to the end, you cut it off nicely. Okay? But a lot of people just keep going back and forth like this. It doesn't do anything. You just go point, follow through. Point, follow through. You don't even need any pressure.
How many points
saying, let's start with 2, and then we'll go from there. Right away, there's 2 things I actually do. I'm going to go and wet this, and I'm going to wash my knife so it doesn't cross-contaminate. Because I'm not going to, just in case I pick up my knife and I didn't know, right, that something was in there. That's why I have a cover for it. And then I'm going to turn, oh yeah, I forgot, this on. I'm going to turn this on. And I'm going to go and put my bacon in right away. What I'm doing is called rendering the fat. So I start with a cold pan. Usually I start with a hot pan. Okay? So I start with a cold pan. I'm going to render my fat. And I want that because the fat is the good part. And I want it to be crunchy. I want it to be crunchy, not to be soggy. Okay? So then I'm going to go and scrub this down because I don't want to cross-contaminate it again. All right? I'm going to make sure that I have my bowl ready to go. No oil. When you do bacon, no need for oil. If you want, which you may have not seen before, you can put a little bit of water in here. And what that does, it helps you to cook it properly without burning the pan. Okay? So I'm going to use a wooden spoon, or I want to start getting you guys to stay with wooden spoon. I want you guys to start flipping. Okay? As much as you can. So minimize this unless you need it. Alright? So I'm going to render this. Make sure this is nice and tasty. Okay? If it's you and your partner, this is just me and myself. I usually have trouble making sure that everything is sanitary, meaning I'm doing all this stuff. But if you're splitting it between your partner, right? One partner does that, the other partner starts doing the vinaigrette, starts doing the concassé. Okay? You know what I mean? So then it cooks a lot faster. While that happens, darn, I can't do anything because of one burner. But usually you have 2 burners, or 3 actually, so you have lots of time to do whatever you need to do. I'm going to go and bread my knife. I'm going to bread my, butter the bread, thank you. 2 ways you can do it. If it's not soft, if it's frozen, you can bread it, like butter it. But if you can't, which you see that it comes off, I have to stop. There's an easier way to do it, unless the butter is soft. You don't want to hurt the bread because you want a nice toast one. So I'm just going to go and give this a nice toss. And you're going to go and do this. Because I want to lift off all the brown stuff from the bottom. And I call it one-step cleaning. That way I don't have to clean that much. Okay. So I'm rendering up the fat, making sure that it's nice and crispy. Does anyone not like crispy bacon? No. Okay. I don't like it as crispy. While that happens, there's a couple things I can do. I'm going to go and take some of my concassé. I'm going to put it into my salad. I'm going to put a little bit of salt right in. You do not dress your salad until last minute. Okay? Or else it will turn brown. I'm going to take my julienne. I'm going to put it in. I'm going to put a little bit of my shallot in. It's very little. You see the amount that I've been putting in? Nothing to know. Okay? And I'm going to put also my herbs in a little bit. Okay? So that it's all ready to go. All I have to do is toss it at the end. Okay? So my bacon's frying nice and wonderful. Vincent, can we turn it off because it affects the noise? Thank you. I know. So once it's basically starting to go brown, which is good, I'm going to go and have a paper towel ready to go. And you don't want it burnt, so I shouldn't be seeing it burnt. It should be rendering. I'm not going max, it's like a medium. there's something called residual heat, meaning it will continue to cook even though it's off of this. So once it's done, I'm going to take it off into my paper towel that I have here. Okay, and it's just going to go and continue to heat up and crisp up in here. And I'm getting everything off. I'm going to let this cool down because once I start my vinaigrette, it's going to be really fast. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. Because remember, it's 3 parts oil, 1 part vinegar. And this is where you need to taste my food because I'm going to be eyeballing everything. So it will be, I'm waiting for you to go and make it so that it's the same taste. That's what I'm expecting. Okay. So even though it's off the heat completely, you know that this is not on. This will go really fast. So with my shallots in here, see it's still sizzling even though it's off the heat. Okay, that means that the food itself and everything else has been cooling down the heat. So I'm sauteing my shallots. Second thing I'm going to do right away, I'm going to go and put in my Dijon mustard, both of them. Okay, there's not much, you see. Okay, so you don't need a lot. It's just a little binder, a little bit of flavor, that's all. Okay, I'm not making sure that it's not brown. Okay, look, I'm cooking everything off the heat. Like this is how much heat is still on the pan. I'm gonna take a little bit of the honey. It should be tasting sweet. What I mean by that is that you should be tasting the sourness of it. It just cuts down the sourness. I'm gonna go and bring in my diced tomatoes. You see how it's a dice, okay? I'm gonna go. I'm trying to scrape the bottom, which is all the good stuff, as long as it's not burnt. If it is burnt, you have to start with a new pan. I'm gonna add my salt, pepper. Okay, I'm going pretty fast, but hopefully it'll be okay. Okay. Then I'm gonna go and add my sherry vinegar. Okay. At that point, putting it back on. Okay, the heat. And then when this is done, simmer it. Okay, and now I taste it. Should still be a vinaigrette, so it should be liquidy. Should be just pieces of like tomatoes. Should be sweet and sour. Best way to taste it is actually take a piece of leaf, dip it in. Yeah, it's done. So I'm gonna start my poaching liquid now. When you're poaching, you don't want a lot of bubbles. You want very minimal. Okay. At this point in time, I got everything ready. This is a mixing spoon, so I don't want that. I'm gonna go and spoon this in. Okay. All right. This is vinaigrette with a little bit of Dijon mustard. So that's it all ready to go. Okay. If you want it to be a bit thinner, that's fine. Just add a little bit more oil. If you want it to be a little bit sweeter, it's missing it, add a little bit more honey. If you want it to be a bit more vinaigrette, you're gonna add some vinegar. Okay. Any excess that you don't have, save it because you can, unless it's contaminated, you can actually use it again. All right. Now I'm gonna add last minute the herbs, but if I add it now, the acid will turn this to army green, and I don't want that. Okay. I'm gonna drop this plate because I'm gonna be using this again. So while this happens, I'm gonna go and have my little bit of vinegar, no salt, in here, and I pour a cupful of vinegar, white vinegar. Okay. And poaching is basically you're coagulating your protein, just like last year, if you remember. And what you're trying to do is that you're going to poach your liquid, your poached egg nicely. I'm gonna put some bacon in here. And some bacon in here. Okay. Just everything that I have is.
The sound is.
I'm gonna poach this. So as that happens, I usually put this into a container somehow, so that it's nice and custard cup, ramekin, doesn't matter. Make sure that it's not broken, no shells, and you should see only a little bit of bubbles. Okay, mine's gonna have almost no bubbles due to the fact that we're in a time crunch. I'm gonna do a whirlpool. And then afterwards, I'm going to drop it really low into the whirlpool. And it's going to circle around, and it's going to create a, and envelop into a nice soft-boiled poach. Okay? And then while that happens, I'm actually going to go and do my toast point. Okay? While you're doing your egg, it is the perfect time for you to do this a little more complex. You're going to go and start to make your vinaigrette, okay? Your vinaigrette, I'm going to add my last minute herbs, okay? And then after this, I'm going to be tossing my vinaigrette right in. You can do two things. You can use a pair of tongs, or else you can use your hands. I usually use my hands, okay? So because it has more control, I'm going to give this nice toss, and just move lighter, okay? Make sure that it tastes good. So you can do this with avocados, you can do like anything else that you want to put it in. I usually do bacon and other things in there. Okay, pretty good. I think it needs a little bit more vinaigrette. So I'm gonna put a little bit more in. Okay. And I'm gonna build this salad up. How should I do this one this time? So I'm just putting my hand over. What that does is it creates a little barrier. And what I'm doing is that I'm kind of lifting it so that it has some height. I'm putting it so that this one's higher and the other side is lower. All the goods go on here, because a salad without goods tastes bad. So I'm going to put a little bit of julienne right on top. Paying attention to all the details and kind of like making it all natural. Then I'm just going to go and put this right on. Oh, this is boiling. Not good. I keep turning the wrong thing off. Okay. So once this is done, my poached egg should be fully poached and it's soft. Perfect. Okay. I'll turn this off. I'm gonna put my butter in here and swirl it in. Not high heat, but I'm gonna go and make it so it's toastable. Okay. So buttered. And then I'm going to put a little bit of salt right on, or else it doesn't taste like anything. And I'm going to put my poached egg, I'm going to put it right here. So the key is to have a nice hot poached egg, and you break it and you just mix it all together. It's really tasty with the bacon. So it's like a breakfast thing. So then you're going to go and have a little bit of black pepper. Okay. Last thing, I got that melted. There's more than enough. You're going to go and put this right on, and you're going to let it toast, okay? That way you don't harm the bread. Any extras, you can put it right here if you want. So you need only a quarter of an apple, honestly. And then afterwards, last minute, you're going to put the toast points. Once it's toast points, you're going to cut it into triangles, and you're going to lay it on here. All right? Any questions? No? I need the salad to be warm. This has to be soft poached and hot, salad is warm still, and your bacon and everything you can dice this. This is not wilted though, and you have proper toast points that are golden brown. Okay, that's what I expect from you guys on Wednesday. All right, I'll prepare in 45 minutes.